When I was a child, Japan's economy was booming. Wages were rising. People were optimistic. There was a sense that the future would only get better. But things began to change in the early 1990s. The Bank of Japan raised interest rates aggressively, from just over 2% to more than 6% within a short period. The official reason was to cool down rising asset prices. But inflation, measured by the Consumer Price Index, was only around 3 to 4% at the time. By global standards, that wasn't excessive. The result was devastating. The sudden rate hike burst the asset bubble. Stock prices collapsed, real estate prices plummeted, and the economy entered a deep recession. But what followed made things worse. Banks, weighed down by bad loans, became cautious. They stopped lending, companies stopped investing, and consumers stopped spending. Japan entered a cycle of deflation, a mindset where people expected prices to fall further. So they waited, and waiting became the norm. Then came 1997. Japan was still struggling, but the government raised the consumption tax from 3% to 5%. This move, led by the Ministry of Finance, hit consumption hard, and consumption makes up more than half of Japan's GDP. Why raise taxes in a weak economy? That's a question I still can't fully answer, but there's something strange about Japan's bureaucracy. Within the Ministry of Finance, raising the consumption tax is seen as a career achievement. It's almost like a rite of passage for promotion. In the 2000s, Japan remained trapped. Deflation became normal. Abenomics in the 2010s brought some hope. The Bank of Japan returned to aggressive monetary easing, but fiscal policy, tax, and government spending was still constrained by the Ministry of Finance. In 2014, despite weak demand, the consumption tax was raised again, this time to 8%, and in 2019, it went up to 10%. Each time, the result was the same. Household spending fell, and growth stalled. Even during the COVID-19 crisis, when many countries cut taxes to boost demand, Japan refused to lower the consumption tax. Voices calling for tax relief were silenced. Some believe even former Prime Minister Abe faced strong resistance for challenging the ministry's stance. Looking back, I believe this: if Japan's fiscal policy had been more flexible, the country might have escaped deflation years ago. Today, more people are starting to realize that Japan's prolonged stagnation wasn't just a natural trend, it was shaped by policy choices. If Japan ever dares to lower the consumption tax, it may signal the beginning of real economic recovery.